Ladies and gentlemen, we're back once again. Gamertime podcast. My name is Matt. That guy over there. Wait, sorry. This guy right here. Right here. Big Al Mocius. What's up, brother?
Hey Matt, how you doing today? Good to be back, and hope you like your rap this morning. I
Oh God.
got you pretty good on that. I'm expecting a one in return, so I'm looking forward to this.
Uh, oh boy. That'll
It's on, baby.
yeah, that might take some time. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Good call.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Gamer Time Podcast. We are here. We are alive. And we're kicking. It is towards the end of the NFL and college football seasons. Um, it's a great spot to be in, man. December, Christmas right around the corner. Got some really, really important football going on right now. Um, let's start with some college football because tonight is Friday night, kicking off the championship weekend with a game called the Pac-12 Championship. Is it 12 or 10? I don't know. It's 12, right? I
12.
think it's 12. Yeah.
You're right.
Uh,
12.
okay. The Pac-12 Championship currently playing is the USC Trojans against the Oregon Ducks. Um, it's currently playing, so we can't give our predictions anymore. And last I checked, Oregon had a lead. Is that still standing? What's the score now, Big Al?
Yeah, it's 21-14 in the third quarter, and Oregon's got a second down and goal, so it looks like they might take a two-score advantage.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for tuning in to Big Al, the sideline reporter down there in the Pac-12 championship. Okay,
That's right, right.
um, but that is one of the minor of the games, the conference championship games for this weekend. As we've got a couple of huge ones tomorrow. Let's start with the Big Ten. Okay, you've got a Northwestern team who kind of popped out of nowhere. I mean, they've been trying to get above the hump for a couple of years now, and they've finally been able to capture kind of an off season by Wisconsin and Iowa on that side of the Big Ten. So Northwestern has been able to kind of sneak in. Is it called the West? I forget what it's called. Um, so it's pretty good that they snuck into their. It's not their first, but um, they go up against a really good football team, probably the best team in the Big Ten, and that's Ohio State. Um, Big Al, what do you think we're going to see tomorrow?
Well, Matt, I believe that Northwestern maybe for a quarter or even possibly halftime will give them a game, but I just think this is one of those games that Ohio State should just run away with. Really,
Mm,
I I'm not trying to downplay Northwestern. I know they came this far, but I just like I said, I think they're gonna keep it competitive for a while, but then in the end of the game, Ohio State's just gonna their power just gonna take over, and Ohio State's gonna come out pretty big in this one.
okay. Yeah, I think that's the sort of consensus pick across every media platform that you find as far as predictions go for this game. Justin Fields is a Heisman candidate. I'm pretty sure he's going to be in New York City. Well, maybe not. I don't know, but it should be interesting to see where he falls in that category. But he had a super super strong first. What was it? 3 games, and then kind of came back down to earth in the fourth and threw like, was it 2 interceptions or 3 interceptions or something like that, which is outrageous for him because he started off the season, I want to say, going like, I don't know, high 80% in the first 3 games.
Yeah.
Completion percentage, I think he only had like no more than like 10 incompletions in 3 games or something like that. It was bonkers. Definitely came back down to earth since then. But um, do you see him completely controlling the game, or do you think Northwestern has a shot defensively?
Um. like I said, maybe for a little bit, I actually do think he will control the game. It's just like one of those. Oh, the only way we can win is to control this guy, and I just don't think like they're gonna control him the whole time.
Right, right, right. Okay. Okay. I agree with most of that. I think Ohio State is most likely going to run away with this game. Um, I think that Northwestern's strongest side of the football field is their defense. So maybe this maybe it could really come down towards the later half of the fourth quarter where they maybe go up by like 10 or 14 with 5-6 minutes left, and Northwestern just can't catch up to that. So I think it's one of those easy wins for Ohio State, just kind of cruising, but maybe Northwestern kind of keeps it respectable. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so let's move on to the Big 12. Okay,
Sure.
you have a Oklahoma football team who had huge aspirations going into the season of trying to make it a playoff, and really struggling out the gate. I think they were 1-2 in their first three games or something like that. Um, and I don't think they've lost since then. I think they're somewhat of like 7-2 or 6-2 or something like that. Um, and they've beaten a good Texas team. They've beaten, I think, Iowa State once, but that's who they're playing in this game. Um, the Big 12 championship, Iowa State versus Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma's, I believe, still playing their freshman quarterback, Spencer Radler. He's struggled in his first college games, but really kind of turned it around down the stretch. So he's having a decent season to where high hopes with him and his coach. Oklahoma's coach, I'm blanking on the name. Okay.
Was it
Um,
Riley?
yes, Riley. Good job. Um, where he's spit out, Baker Mayfield and um, um, anyways, he's a great quarterbacks coach and Heisman coach because he's pumped out like three of them now. And do you think that Oklahoma can? Because I know this should be a closer game. Do you think that Oklahoma should blow them out of the water? Do you think that Iowa State wins by a field goal? Do you think that? What do you think? What do you think?
Well, Matt, to my surprise, when I looked at it, it seems like if you go by what they're ranked, um, Oklahoma is actually the ranked lower than Iowa State.
Yeah.
They're 10 and Iowa State's 6. So I guess this could be, if Oklahoma would win, they could be considered an upset. And I watched a lot of games from both teams, and Iowa State's got a great 1-2 punch in the running game, so that's going to determine. We'll see how the Oklahoma's defense does against their run, but I think I think that Oklahoma does pull out a upset, if you will. Um, Not by much. Give me like a 6 or 7 point game, but I think Oklahoma finds a way to win and then takes care of the run offense from Iowa State late in the game and wins by 6 or 7.
Yeah, I mean, very well could be. I just want to say, sorry for the pause. Lincoln Riley is the head coach of Oklahoma, where he put out Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and Jalen Hurts. Those are the names that I was trying to come up with. Struggled there. Anyways, I've always kind of liked Oklahoma as a history. I think that they've always been traditionally um, a powerhouse. And I think Lincoln Riley, since he's gotten there, he's kind of really propelled them to what they should be, and which is up there in the rankings. Iowa State, who's been similar to Northwestern in my opinion, where just been on the doorstep for a few years now and kind of been in contention in the Big 12 with Oklahoma and Texas there. Um, and now they've got a chance to finally kick in that door. So, uh, Iowa State being 6, um, beating a strong Oklahoma team, and winning the Big 12. Um, is that enough? Do you think they could upset somebody and squeak in the playoff? What do you think? Let's say they blow out Oklahoma. How about that?
All right. Um, I Matt, I don't think it's enough. That's
Okay.
just that's just me. I'm not doubting that they're not a good team, and they play good defense and have a great run offense, but I can't just put myself saying that they're better than the four top teams right now. Even I'll keep them in the top 10. It's just I think they're like the nine. They're like where Oklahoma is, or even the ninth spot. Like I really don't see them being a college football playoff team.
Okay. Yeah, I think I could see that. Okay, ACC championship. This is one of the bigger games. We're down to the final two, which are definitely the two biggest games of this weekend. Um, the ACC championship featuring what everybody says is going to be the number one overall pick in the next year's NFL draft, Trevor Lawrence, and the Clemson Tigers going up against, now get this, a team that has never played in a conference game before, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. For the first time, Notre Dame, due to the pandemic, was forced into a conference just so that they would have a football schedule this year. And they have always had a good program, but enough so to take care of the rest of the ACC, including Clemson in one of those games, and play in their very first conference championship game. What how do you feel about this one?
Well, first, Matt, I gotta say, all hail to all Notre Dame. Wake up the echoes cheering her name. Send a body cheer. Okay, I'm, you know, all you Notre
You
Dame
know
fans out
Notre
there.
Dame's fight song?
Yes, thanks to my favorite football movie, one of my favorite football movies, Rudy. So, give
Classic.
credit to that.
Yeah.
So, if you're looking for a prediction or anything, when I watch Notre Dame games, I honestly in the beginning I thought Ian Book, their quarterback, was kind of overrated, but now that I watch him more often, I can see why he's that good. He's a pretty legit quarterback. I really didn't think much of him in the beginning, but now I see that he's really, on key. And like I know they have like a top guy for the draft next year on defense. Their linebacker, he's like all over the field like every play. So,
Yeah.
um, but Matt, as much as I'm gonna root for Notre Dame and my Fighting Irish, I think Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and that defense will win the rematch since they lost without Lawrence before in Notre Dame. I think they win this rematch. Will be a close one, no blowouts or anything like that, but uh yeah, give me Clemson close.
Wow. Okay, so earlier I had mentioned that Notre Dame did defeat Clemson. Um, and a big asterisk, I think, should be noted when talking about that game, where um, Trevor Lawrence, the probably the best player in college football this year, um, has had COVID, and he was out that week and did not play against Notre Dame. And that was one of the biggest and actually best games of the college football season, was um, where the fill-in or second string quarterback for Clemson came in, Goes by. Okay, I'm gonna try and get this one. Um, I don't remember the first name. I'm just gonna try and remember the horribly long
Eh,
last name, but Uya Yungalele, I believe. Um,
sounds right. Sounds about
yeah,
right.
sure. Yeah, came in for Trevor's absence, and actually threw the ball all over the field. Was it 400 plus yards? Had a couple of touchdowns and really kept them in the game, I think. And
Yeah.
Notre Dame pulled off one of the biggest games of the last couple of years and got the win in overtime, right? Um,
Right. The week before when Notre Dame or when Clemson didn't have Lawrence again,
mm,
they played Boston College, and honestly, Boston College really had a great chance to win that game and just didn't do it. And then after that, I'm like, you guys watch next week at Notre Dame, you're going down, and look what happened.
there you go. Um, so you said Clemson in a close one. I actually think this is a huge audition. I think for Trevor Lawrence. I think this is kind of like a huge stage where every NFL scout is going to be watching this game, and it's going to be it's a perfect prime time opportunity for him to kind of, you know, um, show everybody what he's got. And anybody who follows college football already knows what he's got. He's one of the better quarterbacks of the last 10 years. Um, I think this is actually going to be at least a double digit win for Clemson. I think this is potentially, it could potentially do 15, 20 point win. I think Notre Dame's going to put up a fight for probably the first half. But I think Trevor Lawrence is going to make a statement, and I think he's going to turn it on in the second half. And kind of, there's going to be a couple of like big time errors for Notre Dame. Maybe like a pick six, a touchdown for Clemson's defense, something like that, where it really kind of breaks open the game. So I'm going to go with Clemson, but bigger margin. So
Okay, I mean, I'll stick with mine. It won't surprise me if you're right about the larger margin.
yeah, yeah. Okay. The SEC championship. Probably what everybody says is the toughest conference in college football. Um, which holds the number one team in college football right now, the Alabama Crimson Tide, versus the Florida Gators. This is the Florida Gators are kind of. I think a lot of people still had hopes for the Georgia Bulldogs playing well in the SEC East, and I think Florida kind of came out and put that to bed pretty quickly. Um, and their quarterback Kyle Trask, he's he's actually climbing the draft boards. This is another preview to this game. Is actually the two quarterbacks going head to head are probably the top two candidates for the Heisman Trophy. Uh, Kyle Trask of Florida and Mac Jones of Alabama. Um, which is going to make this really interesting because you're going to see some great quarterback play, probably a crap ton of yards passing. Um, Najee Harris for Alabama is probably going to play pretty well too. Again, all these guys who are up there in the draft rankings, this is the perfect opportunity on the big stage to just launch their credit. And so I think that all of the big names that you've heard all season long could put in a lot of plays and a lot of effort and a lot of stats. I think you're going to see a lot of stats tomorrow. A lot of points. Um, for my prediction, I'm going to go Alabama. Um, as much as I don't want to see it, this is actually a weird situation where Alabama, win or lose, is in the playoffs. They're undefeated right now, 10 and 0, 11 and 0, something like that. Um, and a loss is a one loss and drops them to probably third, maybe fourth. A win and they're undefeated, number one overall seed, and everything's fine. The craziest part about this, and I was thinking about this, is that because Florida lost last weekend in the Fog Bowl, I don't know if you saw that. Uh, if Florida would beat Alabama in the SEC championship and win the SEC championship, it could be to the point where Florida beats Alabama and doesn't get in, but the loser in Alabama does get in. That is so
Hmm.
weird if you think about that. Because let's say Ohio State wins, they're in. Clemson wins, they're in. Notre Dame loses, but they're a one-loss team. They're probably still in. And the same thing goes with Alabama. A one-loss team at the top there, still probably in. But yet a two-loss Florida team, if they would beat Alabama, couldn't catch Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Clemson. So this could be, I don't know if this is the first time ever, but it could be a really weird situation where the winner can't get in and the loser can't go out. It's really weird.
So, so Matt, you're saying that if Florida would win over Alabama, you don't see any of those three other teams getting knocked out?
If the games go like I said, if Clemson wins and Ohio State wins, then no, Florida's not in. Let's say Florida beats Alabama and Notre Dame beats Clemson for the second time, Clemson's out. Then maybe you could say Florida's in over Clemson.
Okay.
Or even if Ohio State loses, Ohio State goes 6-1
Hmm.
because of those minimal games. One loss and they're out. Like I don't think a one-loss team at 6-1 can get in. 11-1, sure, but with so many less games, I think that one loss is going to mean a lot. But that's we'll see how it all plays out. But I think that if Clemson and Ohio State win tomorrow, then Florida, there's nothing Florida can do.
Okay. I mean that's fair. And honestly, I don't see them, even if that scenario were to happen. I really don't think they're better than Clemson. But
Right.
as far as this game is concerned, um, I know I've been studying a lot about, because I'm a Cowboys fan in the NFL. I've been studying a lot of like top 10 picks here, and some of these guys could be there for that to happen. Um, One person I was looking at is the Florida's tight end. Is either Kyle or Michael
It's
Pitts.
Kyle Pitts, yeah.
Kyle. He's a heck of a receiver and I or a tight end, and I would love, the Cowboys need a tight end. I would love to get him, but I don't know if we're gonna add more offense to our team next year. I think we'll get more defense. But going back to the game, I think he's a very good asset to Trask. He's probably his favorite target, and he's got some other good weapons. But I I believe, Matt, if I'm not mistaken, Alabama, even in these conference games for Alabama, they've won double digits in every conference game, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Oh, you
Um,
mean okay? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Their closest game was like who was that? It was some like lower team. I forget who it was, but they had a their only close game I think was a 45-41 win or something like that earlier
okay.
in the year. So I forget who the opponent was, but yeah, yeah, they've been dominating everybody, and that's why this Heisman race is so big with Mac Jones for Alabama because he's having an incredible year. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Another thing as far as the playoff situation, um, let's say that Alabama wins and Notre Dame wins and Ohio State wins.
Uh-huh.
I think you could look at Texas A&M squeezing in over Clemson there Texas A&M, a one-loss team. As long as I don't know if they play tomorrow, but if they play and they win or whatever, then they're probably like 10-1 or 11-1 or something. And Clemson, a two-loss team, then Texas A&M could squeak in. Or
They
if
do.
it's who do they replace? Texas A&M getting in, it would have to be Clemson losing their second game, or Ohio State losing their first game with just 7 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and to answer that, Matt, Texas A&M does play tomorrow against Tennessee, which they should blow. In my opinion, they should blow out Tennessee.
I agree. Yeah. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Let's finish with your playoff predictions. So you said that Ohio State wins, so they're in. You said that Clemson wins, so they're in. And that would most likely mean that Notre Dame is also in, being a one-loss team.
Yeah, I think they're still
Um,
going to be top four.
okay, so then it all comes down to Florida and Alabama, which, like I said earlier, even if Florida wins, I don't think they can get in. So, is that your 1 through 4? Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Alabama.
Yeah, so I'll keep 1 Alabama, 2 Clemson, 3 Notre Dame, and 4 Ohio State.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah. This is It's been a very interesting year. I love this time of year when it comes to these national stage big games and the rivalries, and this is why I love college football so much. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens, and I'm super excited to watch some football tomorrow and watch the big plays and the high scores and all that crap, man. It's going to be awesome.
Maybe some upsets. Who knows? That'd
Yeah,
be. I'm
you
all
never
about
know.
the upset, baby. But we'll see, like you said, we'll see what happens with
Yeah.
these games.
All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you all for tuning in to the Gamertime Shows podcast. I just want to say one thing. Next Tuesday, December 22nd,
Uh,
starts starts the NBA regular season after a 2-month off season because of COVID. We have a very short off season crammed with signings, trades, all types of good stuff, free agency, the draft. All of it was done in 2 months, and we're ready to go for a shortened, but 70 games, 65 games, something like that, NBA season. And we are going to do a special Gamer Time Shows NBA preview special show coming
we
up
are.
soon. Yes, we are. This is new to my co-host, uh, and we will have a very special guest on as well. So
Uh,
stay tuned because we're gonna have lots of goodies for the NBA season coming up. My really quick prediction is that the Los Angeles Lakers win the championship once again. Big Al, who do you got?
uh, Matthew, I think I have a bad connection right now. I thought you said. I heard fakers.
Oh,
I heard the fakers. I you know
oh,
I I mean I guess they're called the Lakers. I mean a team of the past. But
hmm.
yeah, gosh, real quick. Um, I I'm gonna say Boston. I know you love that team, so I'm gonna say Boston.
Huh?
Yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah,
okay, okay. Save it for the real show. All right,
that's
ladies and
fine. Just
gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. College football. Sit on your couch, veg out, man, because it's gonna be some good stuff. Can't wait. Um, my name is Matt, co-host Big Al. I'll
thank you
see you
guys.
all later.
Appreciate it.